Surveillance cameras captured a black Chrysler 300 pulling into a quiet driveway in Southfield, Michigan. A young woman stepped out and walked to the front door. 3 minutes later, she's back in her car, speeding away into the night. Those 3 minutes changed everything. Because when the police arrived, they found 45-year-old Ada Mae Simmons-Jones with serious injuries. And the person responsible was her own daughter.
Murder of a woman inside her Southfield home.
Phone records did place her at the home at the time of the shooting.
A daughter under arrest tonight, accused of killing her own mother.
Before we get too deep, hit the like button, share your take in the comment, and tap subscribe with the bell so you never miss the next episode of Deranged Women. Ada Mae Simmons-Jones was a 45-year-old realtor living in Southfield, Michigan. She had built a life that many would admire. Professional success, a comfortable home, and most importantly, a role that meant everything to her, raising her 3-year-old granddaughter.
You did some childish stuff with your grandbaby. And me, it's almost every day. I'm in a hotel. I'm teaching her a great thing about
Ada shared her home with her husband and his 77-year-old mother, creating what seemed like a stable, multi-generational household. But Ada's greatest source of joy was also a great source of stress. Her daughter, Riley Donaldson. Riley was 22 years old, living between Ohio and Michigan. She worked at Ford Motor Company and had a 3-year-old daughter, Price. But somewhere along the way, the state decided that Riley was not capable of caring for her own child. Riley's situation wasn't about financial hardship or lack of resources. This was about her own behavior and decisions that put her daughter at risk. The court granted Ada Mae full legal custody of her granddaughter. But Ada didn't just take the child. She allowed Riley to visit whenever she wanted so she could see her daughter freely. She had the support system that most struggling young mothers would be grateful for. But gratitude wasn't what Riley felt. It was resentment. By mid-2025, the tension between Riley and her mother had increased. In May, she wrote, "My mom says she's worried, but I'm covered in his favor." Then in June, Riley posted something even more telling. "Do you all want my mom's number so you can ask her personally if I ever cared?" Riley's baby father, Darnell Adams, was another complication in this already messy situation. Their relationship was toxic, playing out in public on social media for everyone to see. They fought online and aired their personal business. In July, Riley wrote a long, detailed message about her baby father, Darnell Adams. She accused him of multiple things, but the most important part of that post was what she said about her own mother. Riley wrote, "The only reason Darnell isn't in jail right now is because of my mother and Price. Not because he's innocent, but because I'm the only one who takes what happens to me seriously. They had the chance to do right by me. When I spoke up, when I said I'd been assaulted, I was not taken to the hospital. I was left unprotected. I don't play about me. Others do. I have documentation. I have proof. So before anybody runs to defend him or try to silence me again, please don't anger me off. I've protected people who wouldn't even flinch if it was me. That stops here." This wasn't just about custody anymore. In her mind, her mother was the enemy. But through it all, her mother was the one providing stability for that little girl. In August 2025, Riley took her daughter to Ohio without permission. This wasn't discussed with her mother, who had primary custody. Riley just took the child and left. Her mother, Ada Mae, was terrified. She called the police and reported her granddaughter missing, and explained that Riley had some serious issues and had stolen her car. The child was found safely in Ohio and the car was recovered. When Riley was brought back to Michigan, Ada didn't press charges, but she did petition for Riley to undergo an evaluation. On October 5, 2025, Riley bought a 2017 Chrysler 300 from a private seller. That evening, Ada Mae was home with her mother-in-law and her granddaughter. It was a normal Sunday night, and Ada Mae had no idea that her own daughter was driving north from Ohio, planning to destroy everything she had built. Just before midnight, that black Chrysler 300 pulled into Ada's driveway. Riley stepped out of the car, carried her purse, and walked toward the front door of her mother's home. The confrontation happened quickly, and in 3 minutes she was driving out. The 77-year-old mother-in-law heard disturbing sounds. Then she heard someone running toward the front door. The elderly woman didn't call 911 directly. She called her son Ada's husband. He's the one who contacted the police. By the time emergency responders arrived at 11:50 p.m., Ada Mae Simmons-Jones was gone.
Thank you for joining us. I am Brandon Hudson. We want to begin with a gruesome scene at a home in Southfield where police find a woman shot and killed in an apparent case of domestic violence. Fox News' Robert Murdoch joins us live from the police headquarters with more. Robin, a heartbreaking way to start this week out here.
Brandon, very sad situation that police here in Southfield are investigating right now. I can tell you, according to the chief of police, that there was a 3-year-old child that was inside the home at the time of the shooting. That child did not see anything, but sadly, that child did hear the commotion. From what we understand, that child is safe and is now staying with a family member while police try and figure out or try to track down who pulled the trigger overnight. So investigators and officers, they were called out to the 18,000 block of Grandchild near 13 Mile and Southfield Road just before midnight after receiving a call from someone concerned about the noises that they were hearing. No one else inside the home, including that 3-year-old child, were injured in what police are describing as a domestic situation. Now, right now, investigators are continuing to interview those who knew the victim and the suspected shooter. They're also looking over home security video given to them by neighbors in hopes of getting a better idea as to where the suspect went following this deadly overnight encounter. Take a listen to this man who woke up to find a crime scene almost next door.
When I came down and talked to the police officer that was here, asked him about it, and he just said it was an isolated incident. I guess trying to make me feel like it's not a random thing that the neighborhood should be concerned about. So I thanked him for that, and then I went inside and looked on the phone and my computer for stories that could be on the news services here, and found out that a woman had been killed.
In Riley's rush to escape, she left her purse behind. That purse contained her identification cards, personal items, and everything the police would need to identify her immediately.
She also left behind her purse, which contained identifying items.
Riley drove straight to Ohio and stayed in the Toledo area for about 2 hours. After those 2 hours in Ohio, she drove back to Michigan. Back in Southfield, detectives had collected surveillance footage from neighborhood cameras that showed the Chrysler 300 arriving and leaving. They had the purse with Riley's identification and witness testimony from the 77-year-old woman who was in that house when the incident occurred. They also had phone records that placed Riley's phone at Ada Mae's house during the exact time of the incident.
The investigation also revealed through phone records that our suspect was at the home during the time of the shooting. And that's why I mentioned the importance of using technology in these investigations.
Investigators began tracking Riley's movements. A day after, on October 6th, Riley was spotted in Detroit. Southfield detectives, working with the Oakland County Auto Theft Task Force and their Tactical Crime Suppression Unit, located the black Chrysler 300 in the area of Finkel and St. Mary's. They followed the vehicle to a CVS at 7 Mile and Greenfield. Riley had backed the car into a parking spot in front of the store and was in the front passenger seat. When officers approached the vehicle, Riley was taken into custody without incident.
You want to just make her get out? Yeah. Hey, open. Hands up. Hands up.
I got him. Hands up, hands up, hands. It's all right. Hands high. Step here, face away from her, face away. Get on the ground. All the way down. All the way down. On the ground. Watch that right.
There might be someone in the back seat. I can't tell. Man, is there anybody else in the back seat?
All right, we'll move it up. You guys ready? Guys, you gotta come. Who's with them? Get on your stomach. Get on your stomach. Stomach. Arms out. Arms out. Arms out. Give it just 1 minute. No, I don't.
I got you.
I stole yours.
I got another pair. That's his pair. Got it. You got it. All right, that's too quick.
Did he call where it was?
Yeah.
Are you confident on that card? You want to hit the trunk? If you can get out, you can. Watch cross.
You got four in custody. What's your name? What's your name? Riley Donaldson.
There were 3 men in the car with her, but investigators determined these men had nothing to do with the incident. When officers asked for her name, Riley gave a very unusual answer. She replied, God.
What's your name? What's your name? Riley Donaldson.
Chief Barron explained the significance of this response. Riley believed she had the power to decide who lives and who doesn't.
When she's arrested, she refers to herself, when the officers asked her name, refers to herself as God. Also, when our detectives brought her to the station and began to interview or attempt to interview her, she immediately asked for a lawyer. So she's very conscious of the legal system. She's very conscious of calling herself God, because you all know when individuals do that declaration, they're letting us know that they decide who lives and who dies.
In her mind, she was a deity. When officers informed Riley that she was being arrested, she simply said, okay. No shock, no denial, no remorse. Southfield Police Chief Alvin Barron explained the investigation.
Members of the community was calling, because anytime there's a homicide, it does generate a lot of concern in our neighborhood. I did have an opportunity to speak to the husband of the deceased. I spoke to him yesterday. I didn't want to have a press conference and not have had conversation with him to advise him on the nature of the investigation and the press conference. Certainly want to send our condolences to the family. In fact, we do have friends and family who've joined us here in the audience today to hear the sequence of events and our investigation. I want to remind everybody that this is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. In fact, the Southfield Police Department recently completed a Domestic Violence Awareness Walk. I also spoke at the West Bloomfield Henry Ford Silent Witness ceremony that they partner with Haven every year. And one thing that stands out about this month, oftentimes we spend a lot of time when we have discussions about domestic violence centering on intimate partner violence. But another aspect of domestic violence that we're going to have to pay more attention to is family violence. We've seen son kill father. We've seen brother kill sister. And in this case, unfortunately, daughter kills the mother. So family violence is worthy of those conversations and resources as well. So this incident began on Sunday, October 5th at approximately 11:40 p.m. Southfield police officers were dispatched to the 18,000 block of Bainbridge Drive on report of a shooting that just occurred. Southfield police and fire arrived on scene and immediately began life-saving measures on an unresponsive female. Despite those efforts by first responders, the victim was pronounced deceased at the scene. While rendering first aid, first responders observed several spent casings and observed the victim with a gunshot wound to the chest, back, and a graze wound to her head. The victim was identified as 45-year-old Southfield resident Ada Mae Simmons-Jones. Southfield officers determined that the 77-year-old female and a 3-year-old child were present in the home at the time the shooting occurred. However, both were unharmed. The 77-year-old female is a resident of the home, and she's the victim's mother-in-law, who does have some physical health challenges. She heard approximately 3 to 4 gunshots and then heard someone run outside the front door. Our officers responded to the scene and began collecting evidence, surveillance video, and our detectives really worked tirelessly on this case. Southfield officers and detectives searched the home, canvassed the area for surveillance videos, and utilized advanced technology to determine the sequence of events. Neighborhood surveillance video captured a dark-colored Chrysler 300 drive down Bainbridge and pull into the driveway of where the shooting occurred. The suspect, later identified as Riley Donaldson, exits the driver's side of the vehicle and approaches the front door of the residence. Minutes later, Donaldson is seen exiting the residence, enter the front driver's seat of the Chrysler 300, and quickly speed away from the crime scene. And you're going to see that later on when I show that video. However, in a hurry to flee from the scene, our suspect left her purse behind, which contained identifying items. Our suspect, and I'm going to remind you, the daughter of our victim, is a resident of Cincinnati, Ohio, and does not reside at that home. We believe that the gun was concealed inside of that purse as she entered that home. The investigation also revealed through phone records that our suspect was at the home during the time of the shooting. And that's why I mentioned the importance of using technology in these investigations. Our investigation also determined that Donaldson purchased a 2017 Chrysler 300 from a private seller on October 5th of this year. And I bring that up because when you look at the video is grainy, but you can still see the silhouette of the Chrysler 300 if you know your vehicles. Our detectives continued using technology to strengthen our case, and immediately following the shooting, she fled to Ohio, just outside of Toledo, in the area of Lake Township and Pittsburgh Township, where she remained in that area for approximately 2 hours and then drove to the city of Detroit. And I'm going to pause here. So I'm going to tell you, this investigation revealed that this homicide, this murder, was premeditated. And immediately following the shooting, as I stated in my remarks, she fled to Ohio. And we did contact both those cities' police departments because she was there for about 2 hours. We believe that somewhere between the time of the shooting and her path towards Ohio, we believe she may have discarded that weapon. So we did ask those agencies to search the general area. However, they were not able to locate the gun. On Monday, October 6th, at approximately 1:30 p.m., Southfield detectives and detectives from the Oakland County Auto Theft Task Force and our Southfield Tactical Crime Suppression Unit located the black Chrysler 300 occupied by our suspect in the area of Finkel and St. Mary's in the city of Detroit. Detectives set up surveillance and followed the vehicle to a CVS at the 7 Mile location in the area of Greenfield in the city of Detroit. The Chrysler 300 was backed into a parking spot in front of the store, and 3 males were also in the car with Donaldson. The investigation revealed that these 3 men did not have anything to do with the homicide. Detectives observed our suspect Donaldson as a front seat passenger in the front seat of the Chrysler 300. Responding officers initiated a traffic stop of the vehicle, and Donaldson was taken into custody without incident. And I will show that video here momentarily. I also want to put some context to this because oftentimes when you hear the homicide, particularly you talk about a daughter killing her mother, there must have been some type of conflict. So what we determined is that on Friday, August 22nd of this year, right around 4:30 p.m., Southfield officers were dispatched to the same home on a report of a missing child. The reporting party was our deceased, Miss Ada Mae Simmons-Jones, where she contacted Southfield Dispatch and stated that her daughter, our suspect, Riley Donaldson, had taken her granddaughter, whom Mrs. Simmons-Jones has legal guardianship over the 3-year-old child. And yes, that's the child that was at home at the time of the shooting. She further advised dispatch that our suspect suffered from mental illness and that she stole her vehicle and took the 3-year-old child and the family dog. The victim's vehicle, which was a Kia Sedona, that was taken by a suspect, was recovered by the Swanson Police Department in Toledo, Ohio, along with a 3-year-old child who was unharmed. However, the dog was never recovered. On Wednesday, August 27th of the same year, the victim, Miss Jones, she did not wish to pursue criminal charges for the theft of the vehicle or for the taking of the grandchild. And probably because, as you know, we love our children and didn't necessarily want to prosecute her daughter. However, Miss Jones did petition for her daughter to be hospitalized, and Southfield police officers did take her into custody and then transfer her to Common Ground for a mental health evaluation. When you look at the criminal history of our suspect, she does not have a criminal history, but with our evidence and our investigation, the Oakland County Prosecutor's Office did authorize charges for Riley Donaldson. Again, she's 22 years old. She's a resident of Cincinnati, Ohio. And count 1, homicide, murder, first degree, premeditated. Count 2, weapons, felony firearm. She was given no bond, and her next court date is scheduled for October 27th of this year at 9:45 a.m. Before Judge Johnson. And so I'm going to spend a little bit of time, talking about the fact that, again, this was premeditated. The prosecutor's office agreed, issued those charges. And I know your next question will surround me regarding mental health and how do you hold individuals accountable. So in my 28 years of policing, I've seen severe mental illness where that person doesn't understand what they're doing. And what I'll tell you, this isn't it. And when you look at our contacts with our suspect, and you see it in the video, when she's arrested, she refers to herself, when the officers asked her name, refers to herself as God. Also, when our detectives brought her to the station and began to interview or attempt to interview her, she immediately asked for a lawyer. So she's very conscious of the legal system. She's very conscious of calling herself God, because you all know when individuals do that declaration, they're letting us know that they decide who lives and who dies. And so, again, we're not going to allow anyone to use mental health as escape. There's a process for that where a judge will decide whether a person is deemed fit to stand trial for mental illness through a process. But again, our evidence with the way the shooting took place at 11:40 at night, the way you're going to see this vehicle hurry up and escape the crime scene, the fleeing to Ohio to remove yourself from the state of Michigan, particularly Southfield, Michigan, in a close proximity of the time of the shooting, so that you could say that you were in Ohio, not knowing that technology is going to place you at the home at the time of the shooting, not knowing that technology is going to allow us as a police department to track your movements from the crime scene all the way to Ohio.
What drives a woman to decide to harm her own mother over custody issues? Ada Mae had given Riley everything most struggling mothers dream of: help with childcare, financial support, unlimited access to her daughter, and a stable environment for her child to grow up in. On October 10, 2025, Riley Donaldson was charged on first-degree premeditated charges and felony firearm possession. Looking back at Riley's social media posts, the warning signs were all there. Her May post dismissing her mother's concerns, her June post publicly challenging anyone who questioned her care for her daughter, and her July post blaming her mother for failing to protect her. Each post showed a woman building resentment, creating justification, and preparing for conflict. She chose to destroy her own family, abandon her own child, and throw away her own future. All because she couldn't accept help from the person who loved her most. Remember, danger can wear a friendly face. Stay aware, look out for others, and reach out if you need help. See you in the next case on Deranged Women. Thanks for watching.